Oh my God.
Ja Rule just shut the door on peace talks with 50 Cent, and the internet is spiraling because this feud refuses to die. The headline is simple, but the subtext is loud. After a journalist asked when the two would finally meet and talk, Ja reportedly said never, adding that he's a grown man and that 50 only talks bad about people who don't agree with him. That's not just shade, that's a boundary line. And in hip-hop, drawing a boundary can be louder than throwing a punch. And the fans are not staying silent. One person pointed out, Ja Rule got so many security just to keep 50 Cent out. Another fan comment said, that's never going to happen, but a fight should take it to the boxing ring. Another fan comment said, thanks Ja for being an example to the youth. And another fan comment said, 50 ended Ja's career. Those reactions hit fast and messy, and they tell you everything about where the culture is split. Half the timeline sees maturity, the other half sees unfinished business. But what fans noticed next is where things really get interesting, because the posts started rolling in like coded messages.
What made you apologize? I was surprised.
I'm a grown man.
No, that's right.
Right after the interview clip started circulating, Ja Rule posted on IG saying, I apologize when I talk wrong about people because I'm a grown man and I know when to stop. On the surface, that looks like a calm, reflective statement, but the timing made people believe it wasn't random. Fans believe it was a response to the noise, a way to send a message without naming names. Meanwhile, a blogger jumped in with, see, this brother got security with him now, and suddenly the narrative flipped from maturity to fear, from growth to strategy. The industry machinery loves a storyline, and this one writes itself. Two legends, one choosing peace, the other known for pressure, and a fan base stuck between nostalgia and chaos. To understand why this still matters, you have to rewind to the era when beef was business and diss tracks were market share. Back then, a feud could redirect an entire lane. People are saying that what we're seeing now isn't about music anymore. It's about identity. Ja is positioning himself as a grown man who knows when to stop. That's a direct contrast to the old image of endless retaliation. Fans believe he's trying to rewrite his legacy from street beef to elder statesman, and that's a risky pivot in a culture that still rewards confrontation. But the allegation doesn't end there, because look at what happened next. As the comments multiplied, the narrative split into two camps. Camp 1 says Ja refusing to meet is wisdom. They argue that walking away from someone who thrives on provocation is the ultimate flex. Camp 2 says avoidance looks like defeat, and they keep dragging out the old claim that 50 ended Ja's career. That sentence pops up like a ghost every time these two names appear together, and it shows how deep the gatekeeping runs in hip-hop memory. The past never really pasts. What's wild is how both sides are using the same moment to argue opposite truths. Ja says he's grown, and one fan says, thanks Ja for being an example to the youth. Another fan says, that's never going to happen, but a fight should take it to the boxing ring. Growth versus spectacle, responsibility versus ratings. It's the same old tug of war, just dressed in new clothes. And somewhere in the middle is the industry machinery, quietly benefiting from every click, every repost, every argument. Let's talk about the security comment, because that's where the vibe got spicy. See, this brother got security with him now wasn't just shade. Fans believe it was meant to paint Ja as cautious to the point of paranoia. But there's another read. High-profile artists move with security because the world is unpredictable, not because of one rival. People are saying the blogger's line was less about reality and more about narrative control. If you frame someone as scared, you win the story before they even speak. That's how internet beef works now. It's not about bars, it's about captions. And Ja's caption about apologizing when he talks wrong about people is a quiet rebuke to the entire culture of non-stop disrespect. Fans believe he was drawing a line between conflict and accountability. In a space where doubling down is celebrated, backing off feels radical. But what fans noticed next is where things really get interesting, because the refusal to meet also blocks a possible reconciliation arc that could have been monetized. Imagine the sit-down, imagine the headlines, imagine the tour rumors. By saying never, Ja allegedly shut down a whole lane of speculation, and that's why the reaction is so loud. There's also the age factor. Ja calling himself a grown man isn't accidental. It's a reminder that time has passed, that priorities have shifted. People are saying he's choosing family and peace over clout and chaos. Meanwhile, the culture still loves the idea of two titans squaring up, even metaphorically.
That's why one fan jumped straight to take it to the boxing ring. The internet has trained itself to turn every disagreement into an event, and when the stars don't deliver, the fans write their own script. But the story isn't just about Ja and 50, it's about how hip-hop treats growth. When an artist evolves, do we let them, or do we keep dragging them back into the role we remember? The comment 50 ended Ja's career is less about facts and more about myth-making. It reduces decades of work into one narrative. Fans believe it because repetition makes it feel true, and that's how legacy gets rewritten in comment sections instead of history books. Now let's zoom out. Why does this moment feel different? Because Ja isn't throwing shots, he's declining the stage entirely. That's a power move in a culture built on confrontation. People are saying it's the ultimate gatekeeping reversal. Instead of being locked out, he's choosing not to enter. That flips the script. It says the value isn't in the beef anymore. The value is in peace. And for some fans, that's inspiring. For others, it's disappointing. Drama feeds algorithms, and calm doesn't trend as hard. But the allegation doesn't end there, because some fans believe this refusal is strategic. By not meeting, Ja avoids giving 50 fresh content. No photos, no clips, no viral moments. In the attention economy, silence can starve a storyline, and that might be the real chess move. If one side thrives on reaction, the best counter is none. That's not fear, that's math. Still, the shadow of the past looms large. Every time Ja speaks about maturity, someone drags out the old insults. Every time he posts about growth, someone posts about security. The cycle keeps spinning because the culture hasn't decided what it wants more, closure or conflict. And the fans are split right down the middle. One side thanks him for being an example. The other side wants a spectacle. That tension is the engine of this whole story. So where does this leave us? On one hand, you've got a rapper saying he knows when to stop. On the other, you've got a rival known for never stopping. The clash of philosophies is louder than any diss track. Fans believe this is about more than personal history. It's about what kind of masculinity hip-hop celebrates now. Is it the man who keeps swinging, or the man who walks away? And the posts only added fuel. The blogger's line about security reframed caution as weakness. Ja's line about apologizing reframed accountability as strength. Two captions, two meanings. One internet that loves to argue. The industry machinery doesn't need new music when old beef still prints engagement. And the gatekeeping isn't just about careers. It's about who gets to redefine themselves. But what fans noticed next is where things really get interesting, because the conversation drifted from the feud to the future. People started asking whether reconciliation even matters anymore. Does peace sell, or does chaos still run the charts? Fans believe Ja's move is a test case. If the culture rewards him for choosing calm, others might follow. If the culture mocks him for it, the cycle continues. At the center of it all is that simple word, never. It's final. It shuts down fantasy. It kills the idea of a dramatic reunion, and that's why it hits so hard. The internet lives on what if. Ja just said what if isn't happening, and that's a shock in a world addicted to hypotheticals. So now, the question isn't whether they'll meet, it's what this moment says about hip-hop's relationship with maturity. Is there room for growth without ridicule? Can an artist choose peace and still be respected? Or will the culture always drag them back into old battles for entertainment? What do you think? Was Ja right to shut down any meeting with 50 Cent? Or does the culture still need that confrontation to close the chapter? And if you're feeling this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and stay locked in for more deep dives into the stories the internet can't stop arguing about.